Good morning. This is Navy Old Salt Gamer. I'm back on Mars. I haven't posted in a couple days because I've been working on a program, and it, quite frankly, hasn't been easy. But I'm working on my furnace program because the best way to make money is to sell ingots. And I want to do this semi-automatically, and I got quite a ways to go yet. One of the things I have noticed, I'm using nitrous. And I noticed that you can tell by the heat in here that my nitrous is burning in the pipe. I imagine that'll become a problem at some point. I don't mind 5,000 degree air or Celsius air going into my furnace, but I may skip doing nitrous because it's pretty tough to work with. I have a nitrous tank over here, and pressurizing it is kind of a pain because it turns the liquid at strange pressures and strange temperatures, and then I start stressing my pipes out, so I have to make sure I heat it to keep it from liquefying, and because the pressures are kind of funky from what I've noticed. And I've heard people say that nitrous is difficult to work with, and I have to agree. I do have converted megajoules. I'm trying to figure out exactly. I may have to switch this to insulated pipe, but I'm in a vacuum, so I'm not sure if that's necessary or not. I have a hot gas tank, which is a lot cooler than my pipes right now, so I'm not using it. And a cool gas tank, which I don't quite have hooked up yet in my program. So what I got over here, I do have an ore selector, and I put everything where you can kind of see it as you're doing this. So if I change my ore selector, it was working. Probably got my program looping to the wrong spot. Let me take a look here. I programmed a lot since I got that to work, so am I going to start anywhere? Or am I just going back to burn? Oh, I know what the problem is. I got this turned off. You idiot. I turned it off because I don't have a way of venting my furnace yet. That's not programmed in. So now, if I change this, you see it changes the ores. This is the high and low temperatures required to make the one I'm looking at. And it all works pretty well. Did this with the stack. One thing I did learn, and I have my, where is it? Is it this one? I made a copy of it somewhere. Well, anyway, the stack does get loaded into the chip, not the housing, because I loaded all my stack information into the housing and then changed the chip, and it's not there. You have to use the same chip. It doesn't load into the housing, it loads into the chip. So if I import this, yeah, I got my hands full, sorry. If I import this, you notice that it's not there. And I could still program right over top of it. That's because I already imported it and then got rid of it and did the regular code, and it still works. Now, just out of curiosity, is it this one? It might be this one. I put it somewhere in my hand, and it's not going to hurt to load this. That's not it. I don't think. No. That's 475. Is this 475 also? No, it's probably it. Import. That's not it either. I did copy it somewhere. Now I don't know where I put it, which is kind of concerning to me because I wanted to show it to you. Just for chance. Oop, is it this one? This is one of my Larry's. Yeah, that's not it. I'm overwriting all my Larry stuff. I apologize. I wanted to show that to you. Now I don't know where I put it. Let me pause real quick and see if I can find this. It's not that one. It's not that one. Let me put them over there. All right. I'll be right back in a second and see if I put it inside somewhere. Well, I apologize. I can't find it. I checked all my chips. I know I loaded it onto another chip. I just don't know where I put it. And, you know, I put it someplace where I wouldn't lose it. And, of course, I lost it. But anyway, I poked in and grabbed the paperwork here. 109 lines worth of furnace information, basically every ore. So, and there's 11 lines per. So let me turn this off just to avoid issues. Put that up here. Don't mess that up. Import this. Sorry, the trash people are here. If you can hear that, I apologize. There we go. Nothing goes as planned. I think I imported that. So here's my program. Edit, 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 edit. Okay. I still got to do more work on this. But basically, when I come down, and I got this, a lot of it commented, so I could, it's easier to explain, because when I program, I actually wrote this like 2 days ago. So hard for me to remember what I did. But basically at the start, I saved the furnace on, off. That's because I turn it on, and this is connected to that switch. So I load that's the furnace gas pressure. That's not working either. I got to check that currently. That's not doing what I want it to do. So this is where I load my hash stuff. And you can see I multiply it by 11. I get the ingot selector switch. So if it's at 1, it's going to multiply it by 11. It's going to equal, or at the first setting, the stack pointer is going to be at 0. So I use the stack pointer and multiply that by the switch setting, which is going to be 1. And that's going to give you 11. The first setting will be 0 plus 1, or 1. The second setting would be 22 plus 1. So there's 11 in each one where it starts from, and then I peek all of it into this information here. And basically, R2 is going to be the ore type. R3 is the temperature low, temperature high, pressure low, pressure high. And I also had put in all the ores that I need to make the one that I've selected, but I haven't programmed that in yet. That's I just wanted to give you guys an update on what I have. It is working with the exception of this, and I got to figure out gas pressure. This over here is not turning on and off like it's supposed to, so I have to figure that out. This is supposed to turn on and off automatically, the burn mixer, and it's not. It's not a big deal. It's just something stupid that I probably did here. Burn gas pressure, set less than 5,000. Maybe I got to set greater than 5,000? Probably. Let's try that. Because if it's less than, which it is, it's going to be true, and that's not going to do anything. So let's try that. Did this turn on? No. That's because it's 8 megapascals. So that's probably right now. I manually turned it up to, I don't like doing that. Not when you're working with pressurizing things. Okay, so that should be fixed. Now if we come down here, ingot hash memory. The easiest way for me to load there's the hash tag for the ore, is to put it into a memory chip and then have this console read that memory chip. As you see it, I got it turned off now, but it reads that and puts it on the hash display so I can see what ore I'm looking at. And then this is setting all the pressure low, pressure high, or temperature low, temperature high to my LED displays up here. You got temp low, temp high, pressure low, pressure high. And this is the furnace currently, the pressure and the temperature in the furnace. So if I go back over here, I load the temperature of the furnace into F7 and the pressure into F8. And then that's where I display those on those two LEDs I just showed. Now again, somebody's going to say you don't need this furn check because it goes there automatically. Yes, I do this. I often put things down here to debug things. So I leave that there. It doesn't need to be there. I understand that. I leave that there. It's all for debugging. So I appreciate everybody's comments, but I'm just making sure that everybody knows this is a debug. I know it doesn't need to be there. And I've only used it once or twice. I sometimes change this to start if I don't want it to loop down here, that type of thing. But anyway, now furn check is where I check all the settings. The furnace, the pressures, the inputs and outputs of the furnace, the temperature of the furnace, and when it's looping through this section, I probably don't need that jump start in there also. That's a debug also, so ignore that. But anyway, it resets this. I had to reset this because, and program it back in because I use F7 and F8 in furn check. And one of the problems I was having, I wasn't reloading those settings in my furn check loop, and I had runaway overpressurization and over temperatures because I'm like, oh, why is that happening? Well, I wasn't reloading it. So here's where I check the switch. If it's on, it goes to the program below. If not, it goes to start. So if I have the switch off, it jumps back to start, and it'll just loop through there. Otherwise, it'll come down here, turn the furnace on, activate the furnace. I just have it activating over and over and over. Probably not necessary, but it's in a vacuum out here, so you can't hear it. Then I say, is the furnace temperature lower than the temp low required for the ore, or the low temperature required for the ore? So now I got to find that again. If it is, go to low temperature, and then I have it jump down here. It says, oh, the temperature's low, set the input to 10. And then it jumps back up. So it'll keep doing that until the temperature is above the lowest minimum temperature. Now, there is an issue here that I'm going to have to program in, because at this point, if the temperature never reaches temperature, it's going to set the input on, and it's going to overpressurize if there's something, cold gas or something. So I am going to have to add a, hey, what's the pressure in here as a safety device. Right now, it's not an issue, but this is a dumb way to do it because I don't have it. Before I set the adding input to 10, what's the pressure? So, matter of fact, let's do this. Check the pressure. Note to myself. Okay. Anyway, if the pressure's low, it sets the input to 10 and jumps back up. Now, when the temperature is correct, then I shut the input down. And then I check the, see if the temperature is high, which I've never gotten to yet. This is a precautionary thing because the only reason it matters is if temperature is high is if the ore requires a lower temperature. So I have to, this is where I'm going to input my cold gas eventually. If the temperature is correct, or the temperature is high and the pressure is correct, then I may have to add cold gas in here. Either that or just shut everything down and have it loop until the temperature drops. And in a vacuum, that's going to be pretty hard to do. So eventually I'm going to have to inject cold gas to cool the temperature down if the temperature is high. I haven't gotten there yet. And if the temperature is high, excuse me, the temperature is high, it sets the input to 0. It closes the input off. Now I'm checking the low pressure, and basically I do the same thing. If the pressure is low, go to low pressure. Here I have it checking the pressure is high. So what I probably could do here is just say go to high pressure check before I do this, or put that routine in there just to make sure I'm not over pressurizing the furnace. Very tricky to do this because you're balancing temperatures and pressures, and of course setting the input to 10. This is a number I can play with, by the way. I had it at 5, but it just took too long. Setting the input to 10 is not only going to raise the temperature, it's going to raise the pressure. So setting any of the inputs or the outputs is going to affect temperature not as much when you're venting, pressure certainly, but when you're doing the input at 10, you're definitely increasing the temperature and the pressure. So it's kind of tough to program all this, and I did get it to work. I have to put some safety features in here yet, and I just wanted to give an update on what I'm doing. I don't want to get too in-depth on this, but again, low pressure, high pressure, I do the same thing. If the temperature's high, I shut the input off. I don't need any more heat, so I turn it off there. If the pressure's low, I set it to 1 because that means the temperature's okay, but the pressure's low. So I don't want to blast a whole bunch of gas in there. I may have to change this to 5 or something like that. You're going to play with that number yet. I do have it if the temperature's high, shutting it off. That's because if the pressure's low, it's going to turn it back on. But I just want to make sure I do turn it off if I don't need any more pressure or any more temperature. And this is my safety feature. If the pressure's high, open the output. And that just all loops, and it keeps looping. Burn check starts up here. That's where it checks the switch. If I turn the switch off, then it jumps up here to start. Did I pass it? Oh yeah, to start. Because I do have to peak every time. I am using peak this time instead of poke. That was a recommendation that somebody gave me. That is a lot better, a lot smarter of a way to do it. And I always reset the stack pointer. Where did I do that? Well, it's working, so I have to be doing it. I'm missing it, but I did reset the stack pointer somewhere because it changes it and it works. I thought I had stack pointer equals 0 here somewhere. Well, it is working. Maybe I put it down here. I don't know. It's in my program somewhere. Because as you can see, it does work correctly. It skips 11 items. So stellite is 11 pokes from steel in my stack. That's why when I change that, you see it changes. I don't know if I can do it from that distance. It changes all the pressures. Can't do it from there, I don't think. Oh, I'm at the lowest number. Okay, there we go. Changes all the settings to the correct temperatures, and some of them are the same, of course. 2000 is just a number I came up with. If the temperature's above 2000, don't really care. Unless if I do something like that. If I'm doing my electrum, then the high temperature does matter. It has to be between 600 and 1000. So there I have to monitor temp low, which it does. I hope that makes sense to everybody, but I can show you by turning this on. Right now, outputs and inputs are 0. The pressure, I vented it. I don't have I was going to put a button over here to vent when I turn it off, but I don't always want it to vent, so I haven't done that yet. Wait, let's do this. Let's do steel. Back. Steel, steel, steel. There's steel. So if I turn this on, now this comes on, you can see the buttons hitting. Now the temperature, this is switching because it's 900 degrees. The pressure is way low though. That's going to take forever coming up, so I may have to fix that too. The pressure low is 1000. Oh, I backed up too fast. It is coming up, but that's going to take a while, so I think this is the issue. And I think I'm going to switch back to volatiles. I've tried an experiment, but this being 4,000 degrees. I mean, is this coming on, by the way? Nope. So something's wrong with that. I'm going to have to check that out. That should be turning on automatically. More debugging. But, yeah, I'm going to have to, I'm going to switch because this gas is so hot that it's not letting it get the pressure. It'll take forever. I mean, it is going up. I could also set the pressure low setting to half of this because there's no reason not to. Yeah, I could do that. Because then this would stay on. Let's try that. This is where you run into problems. So, import. Now, where would I do this at? Edit. I would have to set another variable. Low pressure is R3. So I could do it right here. I could say, yeah, after it's set to the hash, I could do this. Add. Oh, nope. Let's do it. Divide. How would I get the right number here? That's pressure high. By 2? Well, let's just do it this way for now. Add R3, and what's the shortest gap? Maybe, we'll say 200. R3, so I'm adding 200 to the temperature, because if I add too much, and I'll change this to use a factoring of the temperature high and temperature low to get the, oh boy. All right. Let's do it this way. Subtract. You gotta load it first. Subtract. And we'll make this, do I have an R9? R9. Now let's do R3. R3. Set R3 to the difference between R4 and R3. So that should give you the number in the middle. Export. Theoretically. So now this should stay on, but I doubt whether it'll work. What's the temperature? Oh, it did work. It didn't go half, but it's higher. The pressure, that is working better. I may have to adjust that. Oh, the pressure's going down. Why is the pressure going down? It's cooling off too fast, because this gas just, when you inject this hot gas, it just cools off way too fast. But I'm getting close. There we go. Now I'm at the pressure and temperature. So there we go. Now, both of these should be shut, and they are, until the temperature gets low, then this should pop back open again. There it goes. So it is working. I could throw 3 iron and coal in there, and I could get steel. I have to make some tweaks on it. It is working. The hardest part that day, it took almost a whole day for me to load the hash. Not the way I needed to do it. And it's holding. Boy, the pressure goes down. I'm not venting anything. Output pressure. Why is the pressure going down so fast? It's because of this crazy gas. I got no pressure left in there. Got to get that fixed. So as you can see, I have some bugs I got to work out. I just messed up my gas mixture. That's what I want. For some reason, that seems to get me the right mixture. I have some pollutants in the line. Well, that's because it's bursting into flames. So, I am going to switch this. I'll just vent this, I think, and switch to volatiles and oxygen. I don't like nitrous. It's too tough to work with. Let's put it that way. As you can see, this is staying where it needs to be. I'd love to know where all the pressure's going. This isn't opening. I mean, I'm in a vacuum. I couldn't close this, but the pipes don't seem to be losing much temperature. It does radiate some. I could go to insulated everything, but it is staying where it needs to be. So I could definitely make steel if I wanted to.
Power critical.
But there you go. That's where I'm at. Still got some tweaks to do. When I come back, I'm going to vent all this nitrous. I don't like working with it. I'm just going to use volatiles. Eventually, I'm going to set up rockets where I'm going to bring volatiles and oxygen down anyway, so I don't have to mine it. As you can see, I've mined most of the volatiles. There's some uranium, but I've mined most of them within range. Now I could go fly around and definitely find more, but alright, maybe Old Salt Gamer. By the way, thanks for getting me over 100 subscribers. That's pretty cool. Let me know what you think. I would appreciate recommendations. I need to go to, let's turn this off. I need to go to get rid of the nitrous. It's just too much of a headache. I can't have pipes at 5,000 degrees because then it just seems to cool off so darn fast when you stick it in here. Because there's nothing in here to burn. You know, 0.824 of a mole because it's all burned in the pipes. So look at how fast the temperature goes down in here. Radiated. So I'll put this in a block. I got that all set up, and I'll put insulated pipes around here. I just wanted to get this all working, and I got it working. I really wish I knew what I did with that hash chip. I got all these. I checked them all of them around actually named one though. That's the fern hash. See, that's where I originally did it. And then I copied the hash into something. I thought it was this one. But that does not appear to be it. What is this? Oh, that's the one I started the programming on and learned that the hash wasn't in there because it's not in the housing. It's in the chip. So, yeah, the hash does not go into the chip. It goes into the background, or the housing. It goes into the background of the chip that you're using. So, if I load the hash, you have to use the same chip to write your program to use the hash because it's in there. And I know I set that crazy chip down here somewhere. I wonder if I accidentally wrote over it. That's kind of frustrating because that took like a day to do all that. And there's no way to get it out of here that I'm aware of. And I wanted to save it. I should have put it in a library. I should have put it in the library. I didn't do that, did I? A little late to think of that. Maybe it'll turn up. It's got to be laying around somewhere unless I overwrote it. Anyway, maybe old salt gamer. This is my vending machine over here where I'm going to have the ores, instead of going inside the building, I'm going to have them going in here. And then I'll be able to call them, theoretically, into the furnace using the stuff that I don't have loaded yet from the hash, which is, it would be, in the first line, it would be peak 5, which is nickel, because my first setting, I didn't do them in any order, so my setting 0 should be, 0 should be waspaloid. Yeah. So, peak 5 is one of the orders for waspaloid nickel, and peak 7 is the other one, which is silver. And then 6 would be, I need one of each in a stack of 50. So I would call one stack of 50 nickel, one stack of 50 silver, and if the temperatures were right and everything, it would load it and automatically spit it out. That's where I'm headed. Okay. You have a good day. Thanks for your patience. I still have work to do on this. It's a fun project, but it's not easy. And I can't have things burning in my pipes. Most annoying. So I'm going to go back to volatiles. It's easier to get to some of these high temperatures. That's the one right there. Stellite. You need 1800 degrees. Between 1800 and 2000. It's a lot easier to get to that with nitrous, but as you can see, because it's 5,000 degrees. Exactly. Ay. Okay, you have a good day. Maybe a day or two before I do another video because I want to get this working the way I want it to. That is working. Clunkily. Is that a word? Clunkily? Let me run inside. If you're watching my last video towards the end, I gotta get out of my suit anyway. I'm starting to stink. Let me vent that. Then I could take that off and that off. And no, I still don't have a suit holder. I'm getting seeds galore. I could probably change this program to not pick seeds. But these are working good. When I logged in, remember I had this one, these two weren't working? I had them named and I even named them on the video. When I logged in the next day, they were reset to hydroponic device. So the name for some reason didn't take. So I just renamed them to what they were supposed to be named and what I named them in the video, and they worked. So there's no cells not working now. I may have to catch up to a couple because this takes a little while. Is that the last one? Hold it clear. These are create. Oh, I got 11 more to go. So that's what the sage grass kind of slows this row down a little bit. As you can see, that's seeded. That's seeded. That's seeded. All these are seeded, but these probably all came at once. It'll catch up. It's not a big deal. I don't need tomatoes and corn. That's kind of why I put them in this row. I'm not really using them right now. The big ones I'm using are the wheat, the cocoa, and the soybeans in the back two rows. And no flaws in this. I can completely ignore this now. It does its own thing. The only thing I have to kind of watch, and the reasons I've been throwing these seeds out, and I'm going to do fertilizer manually here pretty soon. That's what the sawgrass is for. But okay, this is starting to fill up a little bit, so I kind of dump the seeds every once in a while just to make sure I have available slots. I gotta find a place to put these seeds, and I guess I could just turn them into fertilizer because I don't really need them. One more thing I'd like to update. I've never done this before. As you can see, my CO2 is 6.75. When I planted all these mushrooms, which have not died, they just hang around, it was 6.4 or something. So I don't have to import any CO2 as long as you have room to plant a bunch of mushrooms. It makes its own. You make your own CO2. You don't have to worry about it. I could prove that by saying see 675 over here. If I go right over to the plant, it's going to be a little higher, 677. So these are producing CO2 enough to keep the plants happy, and you don't have to do anything with that. There's no power requirements other than producing the hydroponics devices and the mushrooms and expanding it. These have been here for 3 days. They don't die, and they keep producing CO2. So I haven't touched, and my CO2 is balanced even though I have all these plants sucking it up. So, and I do breathe a little bit, but I just released a tank out there, but that wouldn't be enough to keep the plants happy by a long shot. If you do, I'm sure some of you have, a lot of you have, but if you do a lot of plants, your CO2 disappears. It goes down pretty fast. Boy, this is still going. 4 more to go. Anyway, that's it for today. Again, I'll be working on my furnace program. It's a good start. I got to clean up my mess. Got to make another locker or two. I don't know. Nobody buys seeds. I have seeds coming out my ears, literally. I don't know. What happens if I recycle them? Does it give me organic waste? It might. I don't know. Okay. I wasted enough time. The base is running itself. It really is. Besides, every once in a while, checking this to make sure there's slots available. And there's one. Okay. And of course, making my bread. I put some cocoa in here also. Some places do buy cocoa, but the cakes, the muffins, the boxes of muffins, chocolate cakes, vanilla cakes, that's where you make your money. I have not done anything since last video. It's been full-time on the furnace, and it gives me a headache. So every once in a while I do have to kind of step away from the programming because it is a little tough. So I'll see you, if not tomorrow, the following day. And again, thanks for your patience while I work on this furnace, because it's taken me a while to get it where I want it to be, and I am not there by a long shot yet. So there's your update. Navy Old Salt Gamer. Please subscribe and like, and we'll see you in a couple days.